Good evening, parents. So I'm just going to start making a few videos to kind of talk to you about some of the things that we're learning in math. That way, if your child's struggling with this concept at home, you can kind of show this video. You can watch it to help yourself, or you can show it to your child to kind of help them, and they can listen to me once again reteach the concept. So this first video that I'm making is talking about missing quantities, and that is whenever we're talking about missing addends and a missing subtrahend. So the first thing that is very important to understand is these two words are very important vocabulary concepts for the kids to understand. So over here I wrote a few examples of the vocabulary. So whenever we're looking at an addition problem, we know that the two numbers that you're adding together are called addends. And the answer of an addition equation is known as the sum. Whenever we're looking at a subtraction equation, the two numbers that are being subtracted are called a subtrahend, and the answer of the subtraction equation is called the difference. So it's very important that the kids know that, because that will help them to understand the meaning of a missing addend and a missing subtrahend. So let's take a look first at the missing addends. This one is a little bit easier for the kids to understand because it's a little bit easier for them to grasp. There's less strategies that they need to use. So when we're talking about a missing addend, we're looking at an addition problem where one of these two numbers is missing, and there's going to be either a box or a blank line. So the students might see something like this. Let's just say 10 plus what equals 15. So this is an example of a missing addend equation, and I will write that. So there's many different strategies that students can use for this, but I'm just going to show you a few of the easier ones so that they don't have to spend as much time to do it on the test. So one of the strategies that a student can use whenever they're trying to figure out what number makes sense here is to take a look at a number line. And each of the students on the name tag on their desk actually has a number line going across the bottom that goes from 0 to 30. So actually we are only working within concepts of 20, so the number line can be used for anything that they need to be working on at this point in time throughout the year. So one of the things that the students can do, and we've talked about this in class, is they can look at the two numbers and they can find them on the number line. So the first number that they need to look for is the number 10, and they can just put their finger on there. And the second number that they need to look for is the number 15. So what they can do is they can kind of put both of their fingers on these two numbers, and then what they're going to do is they're just going to hop until they're landing on the other number. So 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had to hop 5 times in order to get to 15. And we always make sure that they have both fingers on the number line. I just can't do that because I'm holding my phone to record. But if they start with their left finger on this number and their right finger on this number, their right finger can stay there and their left finger is the only one moving. So whenever they count their hops, whenever they're touching their other finger, that's when they know they need to stop counting. So we know that it takes 5 hops. And then they can check the answer by just saying, well, is it true? Does 10 plus 5 equal 15? Another example of something that they could do is they could write the number 10, the number that they are starting with, and then they could count on. So I'm going to put this in a circle to show that it's maybe a number in my head, and then they're going to count up. They're going to count 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They started at the number that they were given. They counted until they got to the number that was the end, and we're going to count how many numbers it took them. They had to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So those are just two examples of a way that they could solve a missing addend equation. So let's hop over to the missing subtrahend now. So a missing subtrahend can be viewed in two different ways. So the first example is whenever it gives you the very first number. So 20 minus what equals 11. So what would happen here is we kind of teach the students a different example, because it's very difficult to use the number line because you can only use it whenever you have this example. If the first number is missing, they have to count in a different direction, and it just kind of gets very confusing for them. So what we usually like to do is we like to use a fact family. And when we're talking about fact families, I will show you an example right now. So I'm just going to write the word fact family here. A fact family is a total of 4 equations. There are 2 addition and 2 subtraction equations. So what happens with a fact family is there's always 3 numbers. So for example, 20, something, and 11. I'm going to give you 3 easier numbers to help you with this, and then we'll practice making a fact family for this equation. So let's say, for example, they want you to make a fact family with the numbers 6, 3, and 9. We need to make 2 addition equations and then 2 subtraction equations that are true only using these 3 numbers. So I have my 2 addition and my 2 subtraction. The students know that with an addition equation, the largest number has to be at the end of the equation, or the sum. So whenever we are adding, we know that 9 is the largest number, and in an addition equation, the largest number is always at the end. In a subtraction equation, we know that we always have to start with the biggest number because we're taking away. So I'm going to put the biggest number at the beginning. Now what I need to do is I've already used this 9, so I'm not going to use it again because each of the numbers are only used once in an equation. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, okay, well I know that 6 plus 3 equals 9. And I also know that 3 plus 6 equals 9. I know that 9 minus 6 equals 3. And I know that 9 minus 3 equals 6. It's very important that the students understand that the biggest number is at the beginning, because if they do not, they might write something such as 3 minus 9 equals 6, or a subtraction problem that's not true. So as long as they understand that the largest number is at the beginning of a subtraction problem, then they'll understand that they just have to switch the orders of those other numbers. So we like to use this for the missing subtrahend, and you can honestly use this for missing addend as well, because it would be a lot easier for them to set up the problem. So we're going to say that our 3 numbers for our fact family are 20, 11, and a mystery number. We don't know what it is because we have a blank. So we know that at the beginning of a subtraction problem, the biggest number is always first. So we know that 20 is going to be the biggest number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write my 2 addition problems, set up my board, and my 2 subtraction problems. I know that at the end of an addition problem, the biggest number is always last. That's where my 20 goes. I know that at the beginning of a subtraction problem, the 20 is first. So that's where it goes here. I know that now the other 2 numbers, I've already used my 20. So now I just need to look at my 11 and my question mark. I'm going to write my 11 plus something equals 20. My something plus 11 equals 20. 20 minus 11 equals something. And 20 minus something equals 11. Now instead of having a missing subtrahend equation, I've now created both a correct subtraction equation, and I've created a missing addend equation where the students can go up to the number line and they can actually use the number line to help them. So I'm going to show you that if the students understand 20 minus 11, they can do their strategy where they're drawing a picture of 20 things and crossing out 11, or they can use the 11 plus what equals 20. They can go up to their number line, they can find their 11, they can find their 20, they can put their fingers there and count their hops. So let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've had to make 9 hops, and I'm going to check it by doing a strategy of the picture. So I'm just going to draw 20 stars. Okay, so I have my 20 stars. I know that I start with 20. I need to take away 11, and I need to see what's left. So I can both use a bunch of the different equations to help me with my missing subtrahend. So I have 20, I'm going to cross out 11. Okay, so I've crossed that 11 and I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stars. So I have 9 stars left. That matches the 9 that I got from my number line. So I hope that this helps. I'm going to be posting a bunch of videos like this. If you see a concept that you would like me to talk about that I haven't posted a video for, please send me an email and I'd be happy to make something like this. Or if you want me to even go deeper into something and you just want more examples of, for, let's say, missing addends or missing subtrahends, just let me know and I'm happy to make as many of these videos as I can. That way, if you're struggling at home but you want to help your child, you can kind of have me teaching this lesson. It can be there to help you. It can be there to help your child. So I hope that this was helpful, and I hope that you are able to apply this to your math study guide for their Unit 1 test. Have a great rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.